Hey, it's Mack with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it is Monday. It's March 27th. This will be our chart lesson for the day. And what looked like was going to be a tight trading range turned out to be a pretty good trend day. We started trending right after just after the 8:30 opening, and what we did was we spiked up and then went into a nice 45-degree channel. We didn't get a break till late afternoon. Then we moved to a new high, and we're still up there at the above the day's highs now in the overnight. So really good day. This is a very clear channel working up here. These were pretty straightforward trades today. Nothing too out of the ordinary really. So I'll back out a little bit. We'll talk about the trades and I'll get this uploaded and we'll wrap the day up. But all right, first trade I saw, if we had ticked higher here, I would have probably liked this probably would have been red. It's green though because we're really kind of going sideways. It is a second entry short and it is close to being a failed second entry long. Notice your new high, you pull back, you go first entry, you turn down and you try to go back up again and then it turns back down. It never ticked higher, so officially on this chart it's not a failed second entry long, but it's real close. And we had a pretty strong trend down. This was the first break. I don't have that trend line on there. It's there. You could have drawn it like that and looked at maybe we already had another break. It fits better like this though. As you can see, it fits better on the low side off of those swings right there. And that's where I got that from. Uh, so plus, notice you got your first touch, then you got it confirmed, and we got a little overshoot here, so you had to be a little careful here because we could have just reversed. But this looks like a break, and then we tried to move to a new low, double test, and we failed, and then we went higher. So, but anyway, we're working up here. We get a break, and you're expecting you might get a second entry long here, but you don't. It never ticks higher. So you might want to go short there. It's not a great setup. The actual official failed second entry long doesn't come to here after you get two legs down. Notice one leg correction and then your second leg down, and they're basically two measured legs down. And this is a fairly bearish bar right here, actually a really bearish bar. So I like going short right there, looking for it to test these lows, and that's exactly what it does. Quick, easy move, only good for a scalp, and then it bounces. You might go long here. It's a double bottom. You know, we've had a break here and a test of the low, but generally you're better off to wait on that higher low. But we're a good bit away from the EMA, and you got a perfect double bottom, and that's a very small bar, very low risk. So you might attempt to go long there. Notice it comes back down and tries to test the low again, and it actually may make a new low there. It's real close. I can't tell if it did or not. It's close enough. The low there is 23.18. And here's 23.18 a quarter. So no, we did not. And I know these didn't. So actually it did make a new low. 23.18. So this one is a quarter higher. So it did make a new low right there, and then we reversed. So it's so close it's hard to tell just looking at it there. I guess the easier way would have been just to drag the line down. You can see that one tick lower right there. And there's a second entry long there, but that's too bearish, and that's just your first test of this line. And then you get a second test here. So I like going long. You might have gone long above that little small bar right there because it's only about 3 ticks, so it'd be pretty low risk. If you do, your stop still has to go right here, and it probably wouldn't even be a bad idea to put your stop below that one if you got room. But I like entering there. That's your double test of this level. Then you get your reversal pattern. You push through and you get your failed second entry short. Look how bullish that bar is. Go long right there, and that catches you a very nice move up. And then it looks like we're in a range, and we really are in a range, and it really gets real tight here. But the fact that we kept testing that high and not going lower. Eventually, it's either going to break through or eventually they'll give up and it's going to go down. So, but they actually pushed it on through this time. So, but notice what happens. You got a nice trend up. You get a little overshoot. You get a break here. First entry, pull back. There's actually a second entry long right there. You really could have entered there. I actually put this at the wrong spot. That one should have been there. And I had this one. This one should have been a possible add-on right here. Because now you got a failed second entry short. Notice the new low, first entry, second entry. So it doesn't matter what you bar. Really, that one could be blue as well, because once you tried to go lower again there and that held, that's a double test of the EMA, double test of that level right there. So really, I'm okay making both of those blue. Then we turn down. Notice we come up here, and that's the second attempt. Notice we've got multiple turn downs there. So we've got a lower double top right there. Nice bearish bar. You got room to get out. I like that one. And then, of course, now you get a failed break lower. Notice all that. And you got plenty of room. So I like entering there. You might have even attempted to enter here. It wasn't, if it would have been a little smaller and closed, I don't know if you got quite enough room there. I think there's just enough room. The high on that bar is 25 3/4. I don't know why it's doing that. So yeah, you would have just enough to get out there. It's about midway through. It's not quite as low as I would like it, but it's still, you probably could argue for it. But notice what happens. You get a better entry here. You make that high, pull back first entry, pull back second entry. This is not a very good bar. This is a doji, so it's not the best bar. But then you get this one. So the way I would enter this is if when it broke above this one, I drop my limit order back where you would have. You could actually enter with a stop here if you got room before you get out before these highs. But the ideal thing is let it break higher and drop a limit order in there. So really, you could have entered a couple different ways there. I'm not crazy about entering above that doji, even though it is a second entry and it is off the lows. It's pretty low risk though, so you might consider that. But notice, draw your trend line right here. Notice we push up, pull back first entry, pull back a nice second entry, right, confirms that trend line. Fairly bullish bar. I like that one. You make a high or low here, but you don't have much room here, and that's pretty much the high of the day, or high of the regular session. It's not the high of the day. The high of the overnight's way over here. So I would call that the high of the regular session. So you got to be a little careful. Where was I? We were talking about this pullback right here. So you might consider that one, but I'm just not crazy about it. I'll give it a green because you are going long into that high right there. And so it could be, and we just did have a breakout here, so it could be suspect. So you're better off just to skip that one. And then, of course, you pull back, and you get another entry right off the trend line. It's a first entry. This is really your signal bar, not very good. This one looks pretty good, but it's not really your signal bar. This is. So when it tries to come lower again, if it would have ticked lower there, I would have said go long there. But you got a little bit of congestion right there, but that's a fairly bullish bar. You might let it break above it and then drop a limit order in a tick or so back, and you could have gotten filled at least 2 ticks back on that, and then off it goes. And generally, that's why it's hard to pass these up, because where do all your best entries happen? At the key entry points. And that's a key entry line right up through there, and that's pretty obvious. So, and you see that's where the next big move generated from. That's where all your big moves will generate from, these key entry points. And you'll see that over and over and over. So, I still left it green because we'd had so many good trades. You don't want to risk everything you've already made on one trade trying to get greedy. So if you took that one, I'm okay with it. And this one is borderline blue, so if you took it, even if you didn't think it was You weren't looking at it as being aggressive. I'm okay with it. It's real close. Nice move up. We get a close outside. I don't have the little trend line on here. You can see it right there. We get a close outside, move to a new high, and down we come. Um, we didn't quite get to the high, and then we didn't quite get to the low. So I don't see any way to enter here. Of course, we make a new high, then you pull back first entry, pull back second entry, and notice how the EMA is still holding. This is a pretty strong trend. Notice we came off the low, we still ain't got to the top. So we're kind of going in the middle, so prices are probably still working towards that high side. And notice that's where we went before it turned down. So you got a new high here, pull back, you get a break or close outside, a new low, and a second entry long right there. And then you get that little trap that we like to see, another attempt to go longer. So I like entering there if you're not already in, and adding on if you're already in. And now it heads off and it goes right to the top and turns down. You get a second entry long there, but you just came off the highs. You got a trend line working down right there, which you can see, and all that's closing inside of it. So first entry, second entry, and that looks pretty good other than that trend line and the fact that everything's closing inside of it. So you probably need to wait till we get back to here. And notice we get back right here. You finally get a break, and you get a second entry short down to a new low. You don't want to be going short on this trend. We're just looking for longs, but on a big move down like that, you got to wait here for a reversal pattern or something, especially with a break. We might go on up to make a new high, but you need a little better setup than a double top right across there and no retest of the low after that move down yet. So that's what you would have been looking at the far right hand side. And you can see, even though that looks pretty good, you're going along right into the EMA. No new retest yet, no new low or even a real. We try to retest there, but generally you got to give it 2 tries and let it fail first, and on your second try it does make a new one. So then you're moving up. You get a pullback here with a lower higher low to go long. I'm not crazy about that one, especially this late in the afternoon. Both of those are bullish, but when this one couldn't even break above that one, you had to start getting concerned about it. So wait on the reversal pattern and notice it pushes on through, gives you a second leg up, it fails right there. That's where you can go long. And now we're headed to the upper side. So all this stuff played out really well today, and you can see that. So, but yeah, really good trading day overall. Everything was relatively straightforward. No real surprises other than when we broke out here and went higher. That was a pretty nice rally. I wasn't expecting that. We traded down into this, so a lot of times the only thing you had to remember, you had to think about, the clue that we may go higher is this gap. Generally, those gaps are filled real quickly. So that was the one thing you had to watch for, and notice that we pretty much 23.42 something, and so yeah, we just did fill that gap now. Interesting, huh? But yeah, anytime there's an overnight gap like that, you want to watch for prices. Even if we trade down, we're probably going to try to fill that gap. So yeah, but that was your clue that we might go higher. And I meant to mention that in my mid-morning chart, and I just got busy and was rushing to try to get it the chart up there and forgot all about it. But there's lots of entries in here today, so lots of opportunities. I meant to talk about one other spot here too before we wrap it up. This was a real tempting short right here, but by this time your line should have been here. Actually, you get more touches right across there. There it is. And so you might have considered going short right there. The only thing is that trend line right there, and it's, if you drug this up, You don't have a whole lot of evidence it's fitting off the top, but you got to be leery of that trend line getting short and short into the EMA, especially when we're pushing, when everything's bouncing above that EMA and we're making higher lows each time. So you had to be concerned about that one. So if you did go short there, when it turned back up, I'd reverse. So because I did get somebody ask me about that one today. If you're not paying attention and drawing your trend lines on all these swings, because this is looking like a range more than anything, and this is a real tight one. And if you do your little, first thing I would do is measure that, drag that up, and you can see that we pretty much, actually that's the wrong spot. Once we started going higher, you'd look for that. Notice we got a perfect measured move there. So always measure those moves. And once you get that measured move, if it starts backing up, I'd probably exit. So, but that would give you a nice little target right there to shoot for on those. So that made your two legs up, and then of course you get a correction back to the trend line, and off it goes again. But yeah, if you got tripped up right there, that's just a little two-legged correction within that first move, so you're probably gonna get a measured move on it, and you do. But yeah, I'm gonna wrap it up. We'll be back again to do it tomorrow. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.